Okay, I think we are live now.
Yeah.
Praveen? Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah. So just it's an honor to introduce my special guest, Praveen. He's a structural and civil consulting engineer based in Sydney. Yeah, I just interest to try to invite you to come to our group. Yeah, like must say my dealing with structural engineer is not that frequent yet. There's many things I don't know what you guys can help in the property journey. Yeah, so Praveen, I would like to have you like introduce yourself first and about your specialty, yeah, and things like that, and then we'll go into some questions if that's all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely fine, Lillian. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to your show. Really appreciate it.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm the founder and director of Param Structural Engineers here in Sydney. My office is based in Campbelltown. We service like all over NSW. And our specialty is structural and civil. So we help all sort of clients, whether you want to build a retaining wall, additional alterations, a new single-story, double-story house, commercial. So anything, whatever comes under civil and structural. So we can help you out with. Yeah, that's about my brief introduction.
Oh, sorry. Praveen, you didn't hear me before, is it?
No, I think your call was drop off, so I was the only one in the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I just had an accident. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some of the members were asked the question. They were interested to know how did you like what did you have to study, and then what sort of like is it after uni and I don't know, you become structural engineer, or what sort of pathway did you have to go through to become a structural engineer? Can you tell us a little bit about your studying background, yeah, in becoming a structural engineer? We're just curious.
Yeah, of course, Lillian, definitely. I would like to share that information with so many aspiring structural engineers. In Australia, you must have a bachelor's degree in civil majoring in structure. As long as my journey is concerned, I did my bachelor's in civil engineering back in India. And then I came here to study my master's from the University of Sydney, and I did my master's. And after that, I worked for more than 5 years in multiple companies on varieties of projects, around 6-7 years, I would say. And after that, I decided to start my own work. And anyone can do that in Australia. The primary requirement is the person should have a bachelor's degree in structural engineering. And
Yes.
apart from that, different states have different requirements. As long as NSW is concerned, as long as you are a competent structural engineer and you got a bachelor's degree, you got enough work experience, you can start your own. But some states, like for example, Victoria, if I'm not wrong, probably they need to be a members of Engineers Australia and they need to have this chartered engineership. This kind of regulations are there in other states. Yeah, it depends on state to state. But the primary requirement is having a minimum a bachelor's degree in civil or structural engineering in Australia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. So how long does it take to study this degree?
In Australia, it's 4 years. In India,
Yes.
like overseas as well, mostly it is for 4 years.
Yes.
And apart from that 4 years, you have to have 1 year of practical work experience. But
Yeah.
there is a different pathway as well. If someone has a bachelor degree overseas, right, and still they want to practice as a structural engineer in Australia, then it's especially University of Sydney that offers a 3-year master's course in structural engineering, which is called as Masters of Professional Engineering.
Yes.
And and they can study that 3 years of structural engineering course that's offered in civil and structure. But if you do civil, then you need to study the subjects in structural in order to become a structural engineer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so you should have either studied your bachelor's in Australia. If you study your bachelor's overseas, then you need to do your bachelor's or master's in Australia.
Yes.
And apart from that, you have to have, I think for masters, we had 3 months of practical work experience.
Only 3 months. Okay.
Yeah, for masters, because I think that should be different for different people. But I already had a bachelor's degree back in India.
Yes.
In civil engineering, so maybe I might have got some exemption. But nowadays, I'm receiving many applications from the undergraduates. So in the application, they are studying their civil like in UTS or UCID, and they are saying like they need 1 year of practical work experience. So that's why they're approaching me for the internship. Yeah, so you need to have a practical work experience and you need to complete your degree, then you're eligible to work. Yeah, but I would suggest, I mean, if you want to start your own business, definitely work for at least minimum 5 years in different companies on different projects in order to get the hands-on experience. Because what you study is what you study in the university, the problems are well defined. Whatever you study in the university, very little of that, you really you apply in the day-to-day life.
You need the practical, isn't it? Yeah.
You need a practical work experience. You need to deal with those situations, and over the period of time, you generate that confidence, that problem solving acumen, that knowledge, So as long if you have to, so I would suggest if you're a recent grad, better to join some companies to get some hands-on experience of the Australian construction market, I would say, civil and structural both. And if you want to start your own journey, maybe minimum after 5 to 6 years, and having a chartered engineership is preferable.
Okay. So structural engineers are required in what fields, like, where are possible jobs for structural engineer? Like, are they obviously they are required in what, a high-rise building, like they need to make sure it will be built safely. I'm just curious, what different areas are structural engineer like very essential, must have to be able to start something?
Structural engineers mostly they are required in the buildings, because everyone knows that Australia have a dire shortage of housing, right? So at least for next 20-30 years, you will need structural engineers to solve the housing crisis market. Apart from that, when it comes to the high-rise buildings, definitely you need structural engineers. When it comes to the dams, bridges, you need structural engineer. So almost any sort of construction, you need structure. Even if you're doing the dams, right, that you need a hydraulic engineer to design the gradient and all. But as far as the actual structure of the dam is concerned, that has to be designed by the structural engineer. And you got plenty of opportunities in the private sector, definitely. And in the government sector as well, you got opportunities with a few councils which they need to have their own structural engineer for council owned, as to look after the council owned assets. Like council may have the community halls, council may have their auditorium or their sports facility, right? In order to look after that, some council has structural engineers. Mostly in the state government, especially NSW, they got a dedicated department for the bridge engineering. Because all the bridges, they need to be looked after, maintained, even designed. So they're also structural engineers. So you got plenty of opportunities for structural engineering in Australia.
Oh, understand. So for example, in a high-rise situation, the structural engineer is obviously hired by the construction company, yeah, and then you guys have to oversee the whole process, or are you there at the beginning to check the plans, and then you only there at the end, to check the completion?
So structural engineers, basically, they are the kingpin of the whole project. They are there right from the very beginning until the very end, until you get the OC occupancy certificate. Because what happens? Yeah, because what happens? As soon as your architectural drawings are prepared, even sometimes even before that, for the bigger projects, like because you get all those documents available, your sometimes flood report, bushfire report, your geotechnical report. So before designing the footing, or even before going for that, because architectural drawings not all the times are, especially when you are talking about commercial buildings, high-rise buildings, right? So when it is high-rise building, it is multi-million-dollar project, sometimes billion-dollar project as well, right? So that time the client wants building not only to serve the purpose, but it should look very aesthetically beautiful, right? It should look like unique, like you might have seen the Crown Casino building and all.
Yes.
Like, or probably the Burj Khalifa, right? Because the Burj Khalifa had been designed by the University of Sydney PhD graduate, and when I was studying, he flew from Dubai to University of Sydney to give us the lecture on that. So yeah. So when it comes to the high-rise building, the wind force is the critical one, not the earthquake. The wind force is the critical one. So even if architect has some fancy design in his or her mind, right? He can draw that design on the paper, but to bring that design into reality is the job of the structural engineer. So he can draw something very fancy, but in reality that may not work. That may not work, because that's engineer's job to design the footings, beams, columns, take into consideration the wind load, earthquake, everything. That engineer's job. So that's why structural engineers, they need to be there right from the very beginning. So they need to sit with the architect and give them the feedback, like, what you are designing, that will work or that won't work. You know what I mean?
Yes. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. So it starts from that early stage. It starts from that early stage. And once the architectural drawings are finished, then structural engineers take over, and structural engineers do their own engineering drawings. And then structural engineers role remains there until the building is fully completed. Because what happens during every stages of construction, because let's say it's a 100-story building, right? So you do not build the 100-story building or 50-story building in a day. So you go stepwise. So very first time you do the excavation, and you build the retaining walls. So before pouring the concrete, you put the steel reinforcement, right? So every steel reinforcement has to be inspected and signed off by the structural engineer. So once you do, the steel engineer will come, look at it, will see this complies with the Australian standard and the drawings issued by the engineer. If okay, then structural engineer will say, okay, it is okay to pour, and then only you can pour. So whatever construction builder does, it has to be inspected and signed off by the structural engineers until the very last moment the building is finished. So that's why the structural engineer is involved with the project right from the beginning to the end.
Oh, very interesting. So architect can design anything they want, but really how to make that design stood the test of time safely and securely, it's the structural engineer's job.
Exactly. Many times we have to give them, we give them the input, like, this is not going to work. If you have to do this way, you have to provide the column. Like recently I did one job in Willoughby. It was a very fancy house, like 3-story, all concrete, suspended concrete floor, custom home, luxury and custom home, with underground basement, car park. And so the architect has drawn a very fancy suspended balcony. So like that balcony was like probably 2 meter wide and maybe 6 or 8 meter long. It was like fully suspended, no support at all. And then I had to tell him to update the architectural drawings to make it work.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because the structure should be safe as well and structurally adequate, right? And it should be doable as well. So because anything can work, but at the same time, the construction should be cost effective as well. I do not want it to put N20 bars and like 300 mil thick slab. It will work, but so solution should be cost economic as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's where the engineer then, engineer has to communicate with the architect, with the client, and come up with the solution which is agreeable to all the parties interested.
Oh, interesting. What you say just remind me, because I heard the story about Opera House before, like the first person who was trying to build it, done the design, but couldn't finish the job. Yeah, so he was fired and replaced by someone else to finish it, because he suffered the same problem. He can design, but he doesn't know how to build it. So, yeah. I just curious. Do you know more detail about what happened in the Opera House situation?
No, sorry, and I'm unaware of that. The only interesting fact I know about Opera House is, you know the petals of the Opera House?
Yes.
So the Opera House has the petals, like the concrete structures, which looks like a flower, like which looks like which looks like flower, right?
Yes.
The curved structures. It got many curves.
Yes.
Like kind of a roof. They like a petals of the flowers, right?
Yes.
So these petals, they have the pre-stressed, that's called as pre-tension tendons inside it, like pre-tension cables. They got the pre-tension cables inside that concrete structure.
Yes.
So and that cable should have certain degree of tension, in order to, for example, that petal is like that now, right? So in order to maintain its position, that tendon should have a certain degree of tension. For example, if you have a rubber, right? If you're holding the rubber tight, right? After some time, what may happen? The rubber may break, or the rubber may go back a little bit to the original position, right? Because of the tension, the rubber will try to pull it in, right?
Yes.
So that's called as pre-tension cable. So pre-tension tendon. So that's there in the Opera House petals. So if you don't maintain that tension in that petals, what will happen? The petal will be closed like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would look very ugly. That for that petals only the Opera House is so beautiful and renowned all over the world. So they have to maintain that tension in that
with
cables.
cable inside.
Yeah, inside the cable they have to maintain that tension.
Yes.
All over. Like there are hundreds of cables like that in the whole Opera House, and they have to maintain that. They have to check it. They have to be mindful of every single millimeter. Every single millimeter they have to be mindful of. And and that project is supervised by one of the professor of University of Sydney, and he charged $1 million 1 year just to
1 year to maintain the cable. Oh my!
Yes, he charged $1 million just to maintain the tension in the cable 1 year. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and his background is also structural engineer.
Structural engineer. He's the one of the professor in the University of Sydney.
Oh,
yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned before. You say the Crown building was designed by someone in Dubai. Is it?
No. It's a Burj Khalifa. It was the largest. It was the tallest building until few years back. You know the Burj Khalifa is in Dubai. You might have seen the movie Tom Cruise, which is Mission Impossible 3 or 4 something. I think 3 or 4 something.
Yeah.
Where the Tom Cruise, climb that building and probably jump off the building as well. That's Burj Khalifa. It's very, very popular. Probably the most popular building in the entire world. Its like height was 881, like around 1 kilometer, including the top.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. So biggest challenge was wind. Wind was the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Wind. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I try to touch on a more heavier topic. Yeah. You know the Opal Tower in Muscat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Do you know why it collapsed? Yeah, like do you know why? What sort of?
I haven't read the exact causes, but being a structural engineer, what I can guess that there may be multiple reasons behind collapsing that kind of structure or any structure.
Yes.
The very first thing is the structure is not adequately designed. For example, when we design the structure, so let's say a non-residential house, right, where we all live. So we design the structure for 0.5 kPa dead load and 1.5 kPa live load. So 1 kPa is 100 kilogram, like 100 kg. So 0.5 is like 50 kg dead load and 150 kg live load. So like 200 kg. So if in your house, if you take 1 meter square area anywhere on the floor, right? If you put 200 kilogram vajan on that, the floor should not break, or the floor should be in the serviceable condition. That's how we design. But it's just normal G plus Q. But on the top of that, we have to consider the factor of safety. So that G we multiply by 1.2 and that Q we multiply by 1.5, right? So all up, so it's like for 270 kg. So that's how we design any structure, even though we never put 270 kg in 1 meter square of area, right? No one is that heavy. Even if very heavy person is like 100 kg, 120 kg, no one is going to be like 270 kg, right? So that's how that's how Australian standards tell us to design the structure. Many times what happens, that's what I have also personally encountered those issues, that many builders wants to cut the corners, right? They want to save on the construction cost. So, and if they work if they work with particular engineer, so it's like you scratch my back, I scratch yours, they help us each other to get the business. You know what I mean? And the certifier is also involved in it. So this kind of
so they all scratching each other's back.
They all scratch each other's back, just to benefit each other. You know what I mean? So that there the things might have gone wrong. Australia, if you follow the Australian standards, definitely nothing can go wrong, because the Australian standard takes into consideration all those things, and we already design the structure by inculcating by considering the factor of safety. So that structure definitely might have been under designed by the engineer, firstly. Second thing is, even if something is designed properly, right, but the builder might not have done it properly. The builder might have cut the corners, and that also mostly that is with the knowledge of the engineer. Because even if, let's say, if the engineer is saying you have to pour 200 mil thick slab, right, and N20 bars, and the builder is saying no, I just want to pour 150 and rather than N20 and 16 bars, right? But when engineer will go on site, so before pouring the concrete, engineer has to sign off. So builder cannot pour the concrete until the engineer is going on site and sign off. So engineer definitely might have gone on site and sign off. So there are two things now. Either the engineer's also integrity might have been compromised by the builder. Second thing, this is a bit weird, but I heard like that happen on site before. For example, let's say normal residential slab. So generally what happens, whenever the steel reinforcement is done, engineers goes on site, right? Once we issue the certificate, the builder book the concrete. So suppose if I went today on the site, like let's say if tomorrow I went on site for the structure, for the steel reinforcement, I see everything is okay, right? I give the certificate to the concreter or builder that yes, you can go ahead and pour the slab, right? After that, it is structural engineers do not go on site. Our responsibility is finished there once we inspect the reinforcement. After that, it is also possible that the builder will take away like few bars and use it on other side, because we don't know, we already issued in the certificate, or he can replace the N20 bars with the N16 bars, right? And also rather than 200, he can pour 150. I don't know, because I already issued the certificate. So that might have also happened. So definitely, so definitely there is some negligence, deliberately or non-deliberately, don't know, on the part of builder and the engineer. And also, because builder should also be a licensed builder, they should have minimum experience, they should also study in TAFE, right? So engineers are not responsible for telling them every minute details. For example, if they want to pour the concrete, right? So engineers do not need to tell them that they have to use the vibrator, so that the concrete is properly consolidated. Engineers do not need to tell them. They should know that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they should also know their work. They should also know their job. Engineer cannot stand on site and tell them, oh, that's how you do it. The engineer cannot stand on site and tell the brickie, that's how you should lay the bricks. You know what I mean? We cannot tell everything. We cannot tell everything to the trade because they also study. They also got some qualifications. So it's kind of a shared responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yep. I got it now. Yes. Yeah, Praveen, can you let us know, like, in what instances property buyer can like enlist your help, in what areas and what sort of circumstance? Can you give us some of the example of your previous clients, like what did they seek your service for, to help them for? Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Lillian. I think nowadays, because the property prices is going up, so the clients are more into the old houses, and that's where they are approaching us more and more. because and I think probably we also got to know each other regarding the same case, right? One of your clients wanted to buy the house in Central Coast and Newcastle, I guess. Yeah. So what happened, when you buy the old house mostly, and nowadays the construction quality of the new house is also pretty bad. I can share some examples with you about that. But in general, if you buy any old house which is in the order of 20 or 30, 40 years old, which are plenty in the market, so seeing cracks in the brick, overhanging of the brick, or tilting of the brick piers, or this kind of issues are pretty common in the old houses. And so what happens when any buyer see this kind of issues? They are scared, first of all, because everyone wants to live in the safe house, because you live there 24/7. You have maybe your parents, your children, your wife and husband, whatnot, right? So the very first thing you want to ensure is that your house is safe, and aesthetics comes later on. Many times what happens, the buyer really like the property, but because of the conditions of the house, they are scared and they do not want to go ahead. And also there is this perception in the market that even to fix little bit in the house, it costs you thousands of dollars, because everything is so expensive. So they take into consideration that one as well, and they shy away from that property. They do not want to go ahead, right? So in that case, if anyone like any property and they just see any structural issues, right? So I would advise, because it's kind of at least 700, 800, $1 million deal, right? So I would advise, without consulting structural engineer, please don't lose that property, because what you can't see, structural engineer can see that. Because not every crack, not every settlement is structural, and not everything is something which will cost you thousands of dollars. With the advice of the structural engineers, so structural engineers can tell you whether this is cosmetic crack or structural. But even if it is structural, this is according to the Australian standard. This is minor, major, moderate. To what level of structural integrity is compromising, structural integrity of the house is being compromised, and all sort of guidance structural engineers can tell you. And just with the minimal consulting fee, he can really help you grab the deal. And also, structural engineer can issue the report. Based on that report, if structural engineer says this is a structural crack, right, and compromising the structural integrity of the house, you can show that report to the buyer's agent, or whoever, probably your real estate agent or the owner, right? And you can really negotiate or a bargain based on the structural engineer's report, because he's an expert in his field. No one can challenge that report. That's
wondering, sorry, Praveen, if you issue that report, can you actually comment that, oh yeah, based on my assessment, this will cost, I don't know, 10,000 to repair or 50. Can you put on, or you can only put on the report, oh, this is the problem, and then we have to go and find, I don't know, a builder or someone to provide the actual quote of, you know, to prove to the vendor how much, you know, the repair is going to be.
See, I mean, I can write a general statement, like rough, like very general statement, like just covering myself, because we are engineers, we are not builders, right?
Yes.
And our area of work is differently, and we are not supposed to interfere in each other's areas of work. So I can probably just write based on experience or whatever, something like some sort of statement I can make roughly. It will cost you know, this amount of dollars. But having said that, you know, the client has to confirm it with builders, something like that. I can write that. Yeah. But the best possible thing would be, based on engineer's report, get a proper quote from the builder, right? Because you have a written quote, because every document should have the authenticity, right? So, so based on my report, there are many people, and in this case, it's better if you get the inflated quote, right? Generally, when you have to fix something, you try to find out the quote which is cheaper, right? But in this case, you're absolutely fine to get the inflated quote. Just shop around, and people are there to already give you the inflated quote, right? So get that inflated quote and show it to your vendor.
Yeah. So the best approach would be to have your report to confirm there is a problem.
Structural issue. Yeah, there is.
And then after that, get a proper builder's quote, and then show that to the vendor.
Yeah. Right. So that will make your case very convincing. Like, first, there is a defect identified by the structural engineer. Second, it will cost you this much amount of money, right? So you got enough evidences to bargain or to negotiate with the vendor. So this is first thing. Second thing, I'm just talking about the old houses now, then I'll come on to the new one. So second thing, sometimes the people overlook the problems, and then after putting forward their 0.25% deposit, they go for the pest and building inspection report, right? And then this building inspector, then they inspect your entire house thoroughly, right? And then they can also detect some issues, for example, a movement in the basement, right, or something in the roof cavity. They find out something, because because I don't think anyone can go in the roof cavity when they inspect the house, no one, right? Or they can figure out, they can find some problem under the under the subfloor, right? So then, and since they are not expert and they are not eligible, they are not authorized to comment on this kind of issues. So what they write in their report, they write like, this kind of issues have been detected and a structural engineer's inspection and advice is required. That kind of comment they provide in their building inspection report. So so as soon as the prospective buyer look at that report and see that there is an issue and structural engineer is required, again probably they get scared, or or probably they feel stressed, and sometimes they even might want to back off. But I would advise, if engineer's inspection report is required, just go ahead with that, just by spending few $100, right? You can grab the deal. So because again, because I know building inspectors as well, and they admit that they cannot comment because they are not engineers. So according to their code of conduct, or according to their work responsibilities, they are supposed to highlight every single issues, minor or major, whichever they found out, and where they are unable to comment, they have to refer those defects to the respective professionals. So that's what they do. So that's why whenever it is written, structural engineers inspection advice required, please do so. So that may save you lots of money in future, and that may give you a peace of mind when the engineer says, like, even though that is structural, but it is not compromising the structural integrity of the house. That's also possible, because only the crack doesn't matter. There are multiple reasons. So we analyze the entire house very holistically. What is the location of the crack? What is the width of the crack? What are the possible reasons, and what kind of effect it may have on the entire structure. So we analyze the whole situation holistically, and it is also possible, even though we say this is a structural crack, but it is not compromising the structural integrity of the house. And also, if you go to the builder, that have happened many a times, client have came back to me and they said, first we approached the builder, and the builder said it will cost you 20, 30, 40,000 to fix all those things, right? And then I provided them the solution, which costed them just few $100 or few $1,000, because the problem is same, but the solutions may be different, and we know the most effective and cost-effective solution.
Amazing.
So we can tell them. So for example, cracks, right? So there are crack stitching available in the market. Normal tradie may tell you that we need to knock down the whole wall and redo, or we need to repoint it. But if you do the repointing, it will come back again. So there are some products available in the market which we are aware of, and using that product you can fix the cracks or the settlements and this kind of things in a minimal amount of money. That's about the old houses. And when it comes to the new houses, you want to buy the new house, right? Especially like land, because when you buy the new house, again the same thing will happen. Like if you come across any issues, get back to us, like when the house is already built. But if you are buying the land and you want to build the house, right, that case as well we can help you, because when you buy the land, many of the times you get the flood report, you get the geotechnical report, you get the salinity report, you get the bushfire report, you get all those reports. If you don't have one, try to get one. They are available for that particular property or land. So based on that, let's say if in the geotechnical report I found that there is a stiff clay or solid continuous rock in just 800 mil below the natural ground level, I can say I'll tell, buy this land, you are going to save 50,000 on your footings. If geotechnical report says there is 3-meter fill, and this is very common because in Australia you see the land is not even, right? Uneven topography, so they fill the material. So at many the fill is 3 meter, 4 meter. If 4 meter fill, I'll say, it's going to cost you 50,000 more just to do the footings. So don't buy it. You know what I mean? So based on that, we can estimate the construction cost. If a bushfire prone area, right, then steel or certain types of timber you can use. If it's a flood prone area, right, so then you need to maintain a minimum freeboard, a habitable area, non-habitable area. The stormwater design is going to be complicated. If it's a saline soil in your saline or acidic soil, then you need to use 32 MPa concrete. So based on the soil conditions and if you are living near the coast, it means the high chances are there that your soil is going to be sand. If it is sand, it's considered the best soil, which is category S. So you just have to go 310 mil thick slab rather than 385 mil thick slab. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the buying the land and intention of building the new house, that time also we can help you if you show us those documents.
Oh, very interesting. So are you saying, like, before we commit to buying the land, get a geotechnical report first? Get you to check the report?
Yeah, it's better if you can do that. Recently, what happened, I do not want to see here. I will not disclose the names of any property, address of any properties or the name of the clients for the privacy reason. But there is a very renowned Indian restaurant in North Parramatta. So he's one of my client, and I know him informally as well. So he wanted to he was about to buy a big land, 1,000 square meter in Parramatta for $3 or $4 million, I guess $3 million. And his intention was to build there either an apartment or kind of a boarding lodge, for uni lodge, like for the students, because the land was near the Western Sydney University. But yeah, so what he did, so he got few documents from the council, and then there was this flood letter as well. And he sent me all those documents, and then we had a look of that flood letter, and then I showed it to my hydraulic engineer as well, and we had a look and we had a discussion, and then we told him the possible consequences of that buying the flood prone land. And then my stormwater engineer said, like, it will cost you at least 30,000-40,000 more to build to design the stormwater for that. And from structural point of view as well, because he has to do the big construction, I'll say like at least 100-200K more, at least 200K more, because it's a flood prone area, so we have to design it accordingly. And then finally he decided not to go ahead with that land. So yeah, so because he might have had his own calculations, and he had two options, one that land and the other one. But since this was coming under flood prone, he also told that I haven't taken it very seriously. He said, like, I didn't expect that, it will really affect the construction cost until we explain them all those things.
Yes. Yeah. So client can try to put a cooling off period on the contract, like, subject to due diligence or something. And during that period, contact you to organize a due diligence.
Yeah, my advice. Yeah, so what they can do, they can get this kind of reports if available. For example, if they got a sewer line, going side by from the side of the house, right? Then there also so the footing design is different for that scenario. But again, having said that, like recently I remember one case, like one of my very good friend, he lives in Blacktown. So he wanted to build the grannies like since last 8 to 10 years. And he engaged the architect, he paid architect money, they did all the survey, architect, everything. And they got to know that there's a sewer, the sewer, Sydney water asset that's going from the backyard. And the architect, I don't know who is that architect. Architect straight away told him that, no, you cannot build a granny here. Because if you have to build a granny here, you have to build the granny on the top of the sewer line, and that's not allowed. And my friend was very disappointed. He already spent few thousands for architect and the surveyor and everything. And then he stopped that project. And just few months back, he had a party in his house. I went there, fortunately. And then he was just telling me, he was just showing me like defects and all those things. And he had a big land. I told him, why don't you build a granny here? And he said, I had this idea in my mind to build a granny like 10 years back, but this thing happened. And I was like, oh my, like, who told you this? You could have told me. And he said, he knows that I'm a structural engineer, but he relied more on the architect. The architect was so confident and said, no, you can't do that. And I said, no, he's no one to tell you can't do that. He's a structural engineer and decide whether to do or whether, because the main issue with the Sydney water is where there is a Sydney water assets, a stormwater pipe or sewer pipe. Sydney water allows you to build adjacent or on the top of it, provided that the new constructions is not supposed to affect the structural integrity and the adequacy of the Sydney water assets. So it is the structural engineer's knowledge and judgment to design the footings accordingly. So we design heaps of structures over the Sydney water assets or beside the Sydney water assets, So yeah, so don't be scared if you come across such kind of difficult situations, and if someone tells you can't do that, you can do that. Structural engineering. We know the ways to deal with.
I'm just curious. So what way did you suggest to overcome that? Is it he have to spend a bit more money to do concrete casing or something over the sewer, then can build on top, or this even other more ingenious idea?
No, so what happened? For example, today I issued one job in Campbelltown. It was a commercial area, Blackstone Road, if people know that. So he has to build a fence. It was a warehouse. He has to build a fence, and there was a council land, because fence is kind of like at least like all over your property, right? And if from any side if your sewer is going, So you are going to encounter two situations. Like at one location, the fence will go parallel to the sewer, and other location, the fence will cross over the sewer, right?
Yes.
And he was also like panicked, like how to deal with that situation. And then I referred the Sydney Motor document. So again, there are like multiple guidelines, like based on the diameter of the sewer and the height of the fence and loads and all. So if the construction is lightweight, like normal fence, you just need to have minimum 450 or 600 mil cover. Cover means the soil cover, and you can straight away build on the top of it, provided that you are not going to use any heavy machineries, which we don't. So that's for the fence, right? Again, as I told you, because we need to know the whole situation holistically, because there are many things to look at, but just a quick example I have given you. When it comes to the heavy structure, for example, granny flat, it's a heavy structure, right? Then we just have to do the sewer encasing, and also we have to make sure that our footings, that goes 300 mm below the zone of influence of the sewer, and it's not a big deal. The zone of influence of the sewer. So for example, your sewer is 1 meter down. It's very, very rough estimate I'm giving you. It's 1 meter down, right? From the natural ground level. So zone of influence for the clay we consider 45 degree, right? So 1 meter down means, so 1 meter down, 45 degree, one with 1 meter on either side, right? So it's like you make a triangle for that zone of influence, right? So ideally, your footing should be out of zone of influence. If not, if it's coming within the zone of influence, right, it should go beyond the zone of influence. We do that calculations. We provide the sectional details and all, but it is doable and not a big issue at all.
Oh, so have to do have to calculate,
we need to do
and the design of the footing in certain way.
Exactly. Okay. So there is, so when you come across the sewer, you engage the Sydney Water coordinators. So these are private companies which work with Sydney Water. So you engage the Sydney Water coordinators. They come on site using their cameras and all those things. They locate the exact level of the sewer, exact details of the sewers, and they call it as sewer peg out details. And once we receive that sewer peg out details, where we where we will know that the exact offset of the sewer from the boundary, the diameter of the sewer, the invert of the sewer, once we have all the information available, and then we can design the footings accordingly. But it is doable, not an issue at all.
How much does that bump up the cost by from your
I mean, again, literally depends how deep the sewer is. Most of the cases, the sewers are 1.4, 1.5 or around 2 meter deep, and the concrete is cheap, because you don't need additional steel, you just need additional concrete. Concrete is very cheap. So basically, and you don't need to deepen all the footings, all the piers. No, only those piers which are coming within the zone of influence. So it is also possible that you don't need to deepen any footings, because when you design the waffle pod, so we don't provide the board piers to every 1 meter. If it's a single story granny, we provide every 3.6 meter. 3.6 meter apart, right? And it is also possible that your sewer is already sitting in the middle of the footings, right? In the middle of the board piers. And it is already your footing is already out of the zone of influence. So you don't have to do anything special. The only thing is I need to show that on the structural engineering drawing that this is sewer and this is for existing footing, and these are not influencing within the with the zone of influence of the sewer, and you'll get away with it without doing any additional things.
Oh, okay. So it's not like, oh, there's a sewer, Armageddon, you can never fill anything.
No, it's not like it's not like that.
And it's not like oh, immediately you need to budget for at least 20 to 30,000.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, many a times, like as I given you the example of fence or this kind of granny flat where the piers are already 3.6 meter apart, right? So many a times you don't have to do anything. You just have to show that detail in the engineering drawing, which engineer will do it. You don't have to do anything. Yeah. So many times you just get away with by spending nothing.
Yes. Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting. What else I was gonna ask you? Yeah, I just wondering, some people will say, oh, settlement crack, terrible. big problem, structural problem, settlement, crack. But I mean, from my understanding, as the house age and as the land moves, every house is bound to get settlement crack, right? Is it really end of the world? Is that really major structural defect? Or can you let us know more? Like, is settlement crack something to be concerned of?
See, first of all, settlement is not an issue. So any structure, for example, if you lay the lawn, right, and there would also be a settlement, right? So any structure, any land, it is going to have the settlement, right?
Yeah.
Differential settlement is an issue. So when settlement, like this is your house and the entire house is settling, right, with the same rate, let's say 5 millimeter per year, right? Entire house is settling 5 millimeter per year, should be fine, no issues at all, right?
Yes.
But one part of the house is settling 5 millimeter per year and the other is 20 millimeter per year, so the footing would be like that.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And that's causing the issue. So differential settlement is the problem, not the settlement is the problem. And differential settlement happens because of multiple causes. The first thing is definitely footing is not designed good enough. Even if the footing is designed good enough, right, then you might have the big trees in your house or backyard, which were not there, or probably you might have cut down the trees, big tree recently, that also called differential settlement. Having big tree and cutting down the big tree, both can cause differential settlement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because what happens when you have for example, your house is designed, let's say 1980, right? And engineer has not taken into consideration the tree effect. We calculate the tree effect as well based on the height of the tree and the kind of the tree, right? And then what happened, like if your tree is in the backyard, right? So from the backyard, the tree will suck more moisture than the front, so the footings, the soil under the footing at the backyard will be dry as compared to the front of the house, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So there will be settlement at the back of the house, right?
Oh, so it's not, don't just rush out and try to chop the tree. It could cause disastrous consequence.
Not disaster, but I'm just telling you there are multiple causes, because not only one cause caused. Whenever we write the report, we provide all the possible causes. So this is one issue. For example, and if you have a big tree, right? So and you suddenly chop up that tree, right? So it is also possible. It is also possible if, let's say how to explain that? Let's say it may fix the crack little bit as well. Do not know how will it, because we have to analyze the whole situation. Because I just wanted to explain you the concept. So for example, your soil is as good as a sponge. It's like a sponge. Soil absorbs moisture, right?
Yes.
Even it is not as flexible as sponge, but you can just take an analogy with the sponge, right? So it absorbs the moisture. So whenever there is a tree, right, it sucks out the moisture. So like kind of you are squeezing the sponge, right? You are squeezing the sponge. What's happening? The size of the sponge is getting short.
Yeah.
Similar thing happens with the land. So you see a sagging pattern in the soil. But if you cut, so there was a big tree in your backyard. It was continuously sucking the moisture, and that's why there was a settlement, right? It's like a dip in the backyard. But if you are cutting that tree, and because of the water, because of the rain, storm water, anything, or your daily use, right? Still the equal amount of water is going into your backyard. Equal amount of water is going into backyard, right? But that water is not being sucked out by the tree now.
Yes.
Right? So now what's happening? So maybe that water will swell the soil again and can help you little bit fixing up the cracks. Like for example, your soil was like that, and now there is still water is going on because of the pour or your normal use, or you're just watering the garden, right? So water is still going on there, but there is no one to drink the water. because there was a tree to drink the water. Now there is no one to drink the water. So your soil may come back to the original position little bit, not much, little bit, because it may swell back. So there are so basically this is just a conceptual idea, but we need to analyze the whole situation holistically.
Yes,
there may be a problem, like there is a broken plumbing pipe. That is also an issue. Also there should be there would be a vegetation right around your house, like you do not have the concrete footpath around your house, right? Like if you do not have it, if you just have normal vegetation around your house, that also sucks in the moisture. So there are multiple reasons behind the settlement cracks. But once you detect the settlement cracks, then definitely it is not the end of the world. As I told you, that not all the cracks will compromise the structural integrity and adequacy of the house. Many cracks are serviceable, and many cracks are acceptable according to Australian standard. Like for example, up to 1 mil crack, this is called as minor, and this is negligible. Like you don't need to fix it. If something is
1 millimeter, is it?
1 mil. If it's like, I do not remember exactly, but as long as I like from the top of my head, if something is 5 mil to 10 mil is kind of moderate, you need to fix immediately. But that's again the guidelines. That's against guidelines. But same guidelines says that an engineer has to take the final call. Engineer has, because again, like where that 5 mil crack is, that depend on the location. We can tell you whether they need to be fixed immediately or not, and also the fixing rectification details and all those things. So definitely, if you see the settlement cracks, that's not end of the world. But at the same time, being a structural engineer, just like for example, a doctor, doctor definitely cannot tell you that you should live your life very recklessly. Even if your BP is high, don't worry. You may die tomorrow, and then you will hold doctor responsible. Like doctor said, don't take it seriously. So being a structural engineer, I still want you to take the caution. I want you to consult the engineer and go with the engineer's words. Definitely it's not the end of the world, but don't take it lightly, right? Take it seriously, and take engineers' advice, and be with the peace of mind.
Understand. So I find you very helpful, because last time when we found brick overhang in the building in Pesco, we were freaking out, because the house has great potential, and we were like, are we gonna just give up the house after all the hard work, because a couple of brick has slightly overhang from the edges? And I did ask around about builder, and like you said, some builders said, oh, you need to reinforce it with another wall. It's gonna cost 30,000 or something like that. And then some builders say, oh no, you don't need to do anything. After 30 years, the house is still standing there fine. It's not a big deal. It's just a slight imperfection. And we were like, not sure what to do. And luckily we checked with you, and you told us, the issue can be fixed. Maybe a few thousand. It's not, huge problem. So that was very, very helpful. And
even few hundreds, because I haven't got the opportunity to come on site and look, because again, it's against my professional ethics, like without understanding the entire situation to give you the proper advice. So, but I was thinking, like, if I come on site, maybe even few $100 you can fix it.
Maybe even few $100. Understand. So luckily with your advice, we feel confident enough to complete the sale. So it was excellent. And I remember I saw another house which, I don't know, it was built in the old way, like somehow there's no retaining wall, and part of the house is actually under the soil. And I had to check with you. I said, it's got no retaining wall, like the house wall is just pushing against the soil directly. How can that be? Yeah, and you told me even that's okay sometimes. Like yeah, like structurally, if you examine, if it's fine, then it's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's pretty helpful. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I just wondering if you could still provide us with another one or two unique examples of, you know, something we haven't come across before, but you managed to help the client. I think we already talked about how you resolved the issue, like, you know, building granny flat over the sewer. Yeah, we talk about some, you know, identify structural defect that you were able to resolve. Is not serious. And you also mentioned the getting a geotechnical report done on the land for you to estimate whether, you know, a lot of extra cost is gonna come in for constructing the house. Yeah, what other, yeah, can you let us know? Yeah, because
I got many examples, but I'll just share. I'll just share a few examples with you. I got like heaps. Yeah. I'll just share some recent examples. So a few months back, what happened? There was one job in Bockham Hill. So
yes,
that guy has built a deck and the backyard, like 30 square meter deck and pergola on the top. It's like proper wooden deck and pergola without taking the permission. So as usual, one of the neighbor complained. The council engineer came on site, and council engineer said you have to knock it down. And then, council engineer said you provide all the documents, like, because he has not taken any permission, he just built it. So he said, yeah, because you cannot build anything without council permission. There are some exemption category, but you need to know that what is exempted, what is not exempted. So he did not take that, and he just advised few builders, and builders were like, you know, they just wanted to get his job. So they were, yeah, you can just do it. You don't need to take any permission. He did it. And
terrible.
And then someone complained, because if you do not have proper knowledge, then it's better to seek knowledge from the professionals, right?
Yes.
So he just proceeded further, completed the pergola deck. He spent around 30,000-40,000 more than that. And then there was right before he enjoys a coffee on his pergola, there was a council engineer, and he said, so as soon as the builder hit the final nail, next day, council engineer, knock, what happened? You know,
he must not have a good relationship with the neighbor. The neighbor,
you never know. Sometimes you never know, like, who is jealous. I don't know, like, maybe some people not comfortable, because I have come across this situation very frequently, and most of the cases just neighbor complaints. So because council do not know. Council, I mean, how come council engineer know what's going on in your backyard? There are thousands of houses. No one can track the record.
Do they not regularly do like an aerial Google
No.
They don't do that. Okay.
No, they will go crazy. There are thousands of houses. They
exactly. Every second house I come across as a not legal pergola.
No. He will have to walk on the street with the drawings of the houses, and every houses he will have to spend one hours at least, you know, to tell, oh, this was on the original design, this was not, this was there, this was not, you know. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. They already they do not have enough time to deal with the new situations, like the applications. There is a waiting period 4 months, 6 months, you know, for the new construction. They cannot cross-check, you know, what has already done. So generally, it's a complaint by the neighbor or by someone, whoever. If someone complains, then only council become active and come. So they ask that guy to provide all the certificates. If not, knock it down. Yeah, they were right. Otherwise, why will people spend so much of money and wait for their council approval, right? If you can do it without their permission. So the carpenter who finished that job, he knows me. So he approached me and he said, we need your help. And I said, what kind of help? He explained me the situation. And I said, look, in my opinion, I'm not the right person to tell you, because I'm an engineer. You must engage a town planner.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, do not want to spend the money. So he was like, no, can you please, based on your experience and all. And in a good faith, because, you know, in a good faith, I said, okay, let me try my best. And then I know some rules. I know some rules, regulations, but again, I'm not the right, because, you know, even though I know something, but we got limitations to my profession. Like, I know how to lay the bricks, but I cannot tell them on paper, right? So I know some regulations from state environmental planning policy, but I said, look, if you are insisting me so much, I can give you informal advice. And then I said, look, according to the state environmental planning policy, you can build the deck if it is not more than 25 square meter, if it is not more than 1 meter high from the natural ground level. These are the things. Yes. And then I said, whether you can build it or you can't build it, but you need to have structural engineers certification, like, you know, structural adequacy certificate, that this structure has been built complying with the Australian standard, and it is safe and stable and deemed to deemed to serve its purpose. So I said, if you have structural engineers inspection and report, that will make your case very, very strong. I said, that's my honest advice to you. And he said, okay, please come. And then I told him every time to get the town planner involved and to get the architect involved. But he said, no, first you do it, you do it. And then I went on site. I did all the measurements and everything, and I found out the pergola is like 32 square meter. And then I did all the calculations and all. I said, look, I cannot provide you the plan because that's again architect. He said, no, can you please just do the markups? He was like a child. I said, okay, fine.
And you're very kind. You always help people.
So I said, okay, fine, don't worry. So then I prepared a long report, like mentioning every single thing, what material they have used, what are the sizes of member. I did calculation. I said, okay, this is adequate. This is structurally adequate, complies the Australian standard, except they just have to put one bracket, like little bit rectification details, which were very easy. Like that might have cost him only $100, you know, that rectification details. So I said, this, if this rectification details have been done, then this is structurally adequate, complies with the Australian standard and codes. That's what finally I have written. And then I said, write an email to the council with my engineering certificate and just tell them proactively that you are not aware of the SEPP, like state environmental planning policies and all those things. So that's why the size of the pergola is 31 square meter. But you are ready to knock down the additional, like whatever more than 25. So you are ready to knock down that 6 square meter pergola. But please kindly allow me to keep it, the existing one, 25. I said, write that email along submitting my certificate. And then he wrote that email, exactly what I suggested him. Again, based on my experience, I'm not town planner. Okay, I cannot give you that advice in writing. I said, just do that. Write an email with a very polite manner and accepting your mistake that you are unaware, and provide my certificate as structurally adequate. He uploaded, he emailed that, provided my certificate. Immediately, he did that in the afternoon. In the evening, he got back email from the council just saying, okay, go ahead, do the rectification details provided by the engineer and knock down your additional 6 square meters, send me the photos, and you are good to keep it up, the existing pergola. And he was like very, very happy. He provided me the Google reviews. So he was very, very happy. So that's one example where I helped the client. Again, I'm not advising anyone to do any unauthorized
now you're gonna have all these people come to you to get the pergola approved.
No, don't do it. I'm just sharing my
it's an ingenious way that
please,
you got
please get approval for every single thing. Okay, don't do any unauthorized work. Because maybe that engineer might have been kind. I do not know. It's again subject to judgment. Some engineers may be very strict and say just knock it down or pay the fine, because he already got that notice. Pay the fine, knock it down. This kind of thing. So please don't do. But if you come across this kind of situation, unfortunately, sometimes what happens, you buy the house, you do not know what work is approved, and you just buy the house. And later on, you get to know, oh, that pergola, that room was unauthorized or not approved. So if you come across this kind of situation, don't panic. Give me a call, probably, because any situation you need engineer certificate. What council or regulatory authority matters to them? First, the structure should be structurally safe, that the people living in it, they are safe. There should not be any danger to their life, and we are the one who can certify that. And then second thing is whether that complies with the council's town planning policies. So that town planning is architect's thing or town planner's thing, right? So any structure, engineer certificate is essential. Without that, you don't get any approval.
Oh, okay. So even if he had in this instance, even if he had already consulted with the town planner, that's still not enough. He will need to get a certificate from you to say
it's structurally safe, and it complies with the Australian standard. Because even if you are doing something which is not structurally safe, you are stepping onto the pergola, it's not adequately designed, and you are going down hurting yourself. It's not good. Or your roof is not stable. There is a wind and storm, and the roof collapse on your head. It's not good.
So, because I come across most insurance company, they don't want to cover the building if you have illegal structure.
It's not certified by the engineer. It's not certified by the engineer. Yeah, that's a very good point you picked up. So insurance will not cover anything if it doesn't have the engineer certificate, because it means you may do it by yourself. No one knows, and you are not a licensed builder. You do not have any experience. Just to save the money, you did something dodgy work, and over the period of time it fails down or something like that, and you're claiming the insurance. Why would insurance will pay you? Because you haven't done it properly. So why insurance will pay you? So, but if engineers certify or no, that structure had been designed according to the Australian standard and still it fails, then engineer will pay you. So that's the
people better get this certificate before the structure fails. Or can it be obtained after the structure fails?
If after the certificate fail, even we cannot give the certificate.
And you cannot give certificate
because it is already failed. How can I give you the certificate for the failed structure?
Yes, that's right.
It's like the patient is already dead and the doctor is providing the certificate. He's fit and fine and ready to work.
Oh, funny. Thank you so much, Praveen. It's very interesting. Learn a lot. You have a wealth of knowledge. Learn a lot from you. Yeah. Finally, I just want to ask. I'm just a bit curious. Like, why most of the time when you buy a house is just building inspector going out to look at the house, and some building inspector don't even have builder license. I'm just curious. And even builder, they know how to build a house, but they may not know whether the structure is safe or whether it's being held up correctly and all that. Why this job is not done by a structural engineer and it's only just done by a builder? I'm just a bit curious. Why they just let someone, builder or someone just done a course to do the building inspection rather than a structural engineer?
Good question.
You guys cost too much?
Good questions. So the answer is when it comes to the house, right? So the house has both structural and non-structural items, right? So for example, your door hinge, your window panes, your seals, your gyprock, right? All these are non-structural items, right? So what happens? So we are not like, we are not structural engineer to assess the situation of the non-structural items. For example, damping in the wall, pest inspection, termite infestation, cockroach, whatever, So even though we can do that, but we are not expert. We do not want to be an expert in that, because that's kind of not doing justice to our skills. We better be confined to our own expertise, right? So when
Yes.
when you do the building and pest inspection, so the inspection itself is pest and building inspection. So what they do termite infestation. Right? We don't do the termite things, you know, even though we have the knowledge, but we do not want to touch those areas, right? And also,
Yes.
what you pay $600 for that entire house. We cannot work in $600 for the entire house. You know what I mean? We just look one item and our fee is $800 or $1,000. You know what I mean? So that's why. So because we are professionally qualified, we have spent so much of years and all those things.
Yeah, you want to do the specialized stuff.
Whereas pest and building inspector, they are not qualified professional. I do not know. They might be doing some certificate course. I don't know exactly, but definitely they do not. Yeah. They don't have to have a degree like us, 4 years of degree and 5 years of work experience. They don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's why they do all sort of stuff. They have their moisture meter. They say, okay, the moisture in this wall is more than the normal one, 25%. You know, the window panes are not correct. Overhang. So in that report, there is structural and non-structural. Both the items are mentioned.
Yes.
So yeah, and when it is a structural item, since they are not expert, they mention this is a structural item and that has to be inspected and advised by the structural engineer. And when they write that word structural engineer, then we come into picture.
Understand.
Yeah.
You are reserved for the more specialized.
Exactly. So we are like they are GP, you know, like a GP. Whatever problem you go to a GP, right?
Yeah.
But the GP is not expert. Then GP, and then GP refer you to the specialist. So we are specialists.
Yes.
And that's why our fee, and that's why our fee is higher than GP.
Exactly. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Praveen. Every time I talk to you, I just want to keep talking to you because I feel like, learn so many things. Yeah. Thank you so much for, taking time out from your busy schedule, to do this interview with me. I'm sure, my group members will benefit a lot from watching this video. Yeah. So finally, I just want to recap, like, for example, before you buy land to construct properties, or if you encounter things in the property during building and pest inspection, or even before you make offer on the property, if you encounter something that you suspect is structural issue, and even dealing with unauthorized structure, can contact Praveen, for advice,
and
or
also just one example I would like to share with you quickly, because nowadays again the property prices are going very high, so that's why people want to do a lot of addition alterations, right? And there is a trend of big open spaces. So old houses, they do not have the modular kitchen. That happened with my friend. He got a house in MacArthur, so he just wanted to avail his equity. So because generally I hate my friends to buy the houses, and so when we bought the house, so there was a wall in between the living room, which is common in most of the houses, right? There was a wall in there was a partition in the living room and the kitchen, and so his property valuation was, I think, 780, something like that. No, 800, something like that. And then I suggested him, why don't you knock down this wall and just make one big modular kitchen, living room. And then he said, but how to do that? And then I just went into the cavity, and he was very scared. He was like, it will cost me a lot of money, because knocking down wall in a main wall, which was like 6 meters long.
Yes.
Like, I said, don't panic. I'm here to help you. And on one day I just went to his house. I went into the room cavity. Fortunately, I said, oh, this is non-structural. This is just a part. It's not supporting anything. I said, this is good for you. I said, what to do? I said, just get some handyman. I said, even we can knock it down this wall. And he said, no, it's better. He said, it's better we just get some handyman. We just got some handymans, and they just knock it down. I was there on site because it was my friend's place. So I was just there out of courtesy. Yes. We knock it down. They came with this skip bin. So they charge all of $1,200 to knock it down and take all those rubbish. And then we call the property valuation guy, and the property valuation increased from 800 to 860, something like that. So like 50 or 60,000. Just we knock it down and make it,
to make it open plan,
Yeah. So we spent $1,000 to call some handyman and knock down this wall, and the valuation increased by 50 or 60,000. You know what I mean?
Oh, fantastic. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So another thing, like if you want to do renovation to your property or something like that, removing walls or something, adding beams and all that, can also consult with you first, right?
Yeah. We can definitely help you out with that. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, do you service the whole Sydney, or I just want
whole NSW, whole NSW.
Whole NSW. Okay.
Yeah.
So
only the inspection fee varies, because, for example, if it is just because that depends on my traveling time, right?
Yes.
So yeah, inspection fee varies, but we serve the whole NSW. We can even serve the whole Australia as well if someone, because I help one of my friend. He's in Victoria, so
yes.
His wife is doctor, he's an engineer, a lot of money, so he just wanted to, he bought a big land, and he wanted to build 3 houses, one for him and 2 for selling. And then he showed me the plans of the engineering plan, and I said, oh, this is very much over design. I said, if you go with those engineering plans, that will cost you at least 100,000 additional for one house. So these 3 houses, you are seeing something 300,000 more on the construction cost. And then he said, what to do? I said, look, I can also design this house, these engineering drawings for you, but since you already paid to the engineers, better you ask him to amend. Initially, the engineers like, no, that's already, like, we are the engineers, we know, blah, blah, blah. And then next time I told him, tell him that your friend is also an engineer like me, you know. I told him, like, tell him that my friend is sitting in Sydney, he's also an engineer running his own company, and he said he has provided this markups. So I just did use PDF markup and give it to my friend. My friend has given it to that engineer, and then that engineer updated the engineering drawings, and then the builder has given him the quote. I think 350 or 350, like initial quote was like 1.8 million, something like that, for 3 houses. And then that quote has gone down to 1.3, 1.4, something like that. Yeah, because of the engineering drawing I provided. Because what happened, many a times the big companies, or I don't know, because if you go through the big company, there are many engineers, interns and all, you know, because of a lot of workload. Not every time your engineering design is very well, because I know I was working with Intrac, the biggest company in Australia for residential, and we had like we had to design 2 jobs in a day, like 2 single story or 1 double story in a day, and we have a lot of workload. So we do not try to come up with the best possible design, you know. We just have to, just like a buying burgers from McD, you know. So many people, right? You do not, you cannot expect the best burger from McD, because that's what you pay for, right? You pay less amount of money, you just get, you know, quick and easy burgers. So similar thing. If you go with the big companies, they might charge you lesser amount of fee, but their engineering drawing is not very cost effective. There are newly interns and engineers, you know, they can give you the drawings. Whereas people like we are the small companies, so you know, we look after our clients very well. We design every house as if it is going to be my house, you know. So that's the difference. Yeah. So that's how that might have happened with my friend's job. You know, he might have gone up with the big company to save a few $100s. And in return, he got this kind of drawing, which will cost him like hundreds of thousands of dollars more when it comes to the building. Yeah.
Oh, so like when someone wants to buy land and do a bigger development, you know, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 townhouse or something like that. Like, is it get the architect to draw the plan, and then get you to check it? How does it work?
So if you can get me the plan to check by the architecture plans as well, because based on that as well, I can tell that, because what happens many a times, for example, if your first floor wall is not sitting directly on the top of the ground floor wall, right? Then you need to design additional steel beam to support that wall. You know what I mean? Like, this is ground floor wall, first floor wall. If it is here, I don't need to do additional steel beams, right? It is supporting on the ground floor wall. But nowadays, because that's how many times we have to advise architect, like, you know, if you move the wall like this, we are going to save a lot of money on steel and, you know, additional things. you know.
Yes.
So I can have a quick look and do the quick markup. I can suggest this is the best design, or if this is not, probably if you move this column here, this wall here, probably we can save money, you know, this kind of thing. And also when it comes to the engineering, so just find the right structural engineer who can come up with the good, like today I did one job, you know, today, and that lady, she's building again the custom house with underground car park and all, and before giving me the confirmation, she asked me these questions like what would the thickness of the slab, what steel you are going to use, like technical questions. And I said, no problem. I gave him the answer, like these are my specifications. She was very happy and she said, okay, we want to go ahead with you. And I said, okay, out of my curiosity, are you a builder? She said no. Then I said, why did you ask me these technical questions? I said, because I do not want my house to be over designed. Before, she designed my house by some other engineer, and she said that engineer even put the footings even for the furniture, you know. And I said, that's crazy. And she said that costed him too much money to build that kind of house. And she said, I do not want that kind of engineer. I want the engineer which provides us the cost economical solutions. You know what I mean? And that's why she decided to go with me. And this is just quickly, just in 2 minutes, I'll explain you one very important thing. So when you shop around the engineer, some engineer may charge you 2,000, some engineer may charge you 1,500, some may 1,200, right? There are different engineers available in the market. So definitely you should give attention. You should consider the fee, but more than that, you should consider the availability of engineers throughout your project, because your construction project may go up to 1 year or 2 years, right? Sometimes what happens, you hire a very cheap engineer, right? So what cheap engineer does, he charges you $1,000, he gives you the engineering, he gets his fees, and his job is done. After that, he's not entertaining you, he's not picking up your call, he's not giving you the on-site during the construction advice, for example. Because many a times it is very difficult for the builder to follow the engineering drawing exactly, because real life situation is different. He comes up with different ideas, and that time we ring the engineer, and then engineer is like two things. Either he doesn't entertain, he said, no, I want everything to be according to the engineering drawing. If you don't do it, I'm not going to sign off, you know. And then engineer can give you very, very hard time, and then every day delay of project can cost you thousands of dollars. That's what happened. One of the job in Bosley Park, he is a goldsmith, rich man. So he was building his double-story house. So his original design was for the Hebel, you know, Hebel panels. So, but later on during the construction, his wife might have thought, no, brick is better than Hebel, and he thought, no, I want to go with the brick. And then they contacted the engineer, and the engineer said, no, the engineer, the original design is for the Hebel, and now I cannot change it. I cannot change. I cannot make it to suit the brick. And then the client again persuaded with the engineer. Engineer got upset, angry. He stopped picking up the call. He blocked the number of the client. He did not answer to the email, nothing. And then the client was very panicked and very depressed and very upset. And the project was like under construction house. The floor was already installed. So, and he already spent like 400,000, something like that, already on the house, already spent. Again, that carpenter was working with me. That carpenter knew me. He engaged me. I went on site. I said, first of all, don't panic. Let me assess the situation. Then I asked them all the engineering drawings, all the documents, architecture drawings, whatever they had. I said, provide me all the documents. I referred all the documents. What I did, I said, okay, we will make it work. So the beams which were under design, I said, we will just update the beams, and where we need some additional footings and beams and lintels, we will provide that. Right? That's what I did. Finally, the construction got ahead. The house is finished, beautiful house. And now they got their OC as well. The goldsmith is living happily in that house, and he wants to build 2 more houses for his sons, and that project is also coming to me. So that's very important thing when you engage a structural engineer, because we are not only technical specialist, we are consultant, you know. So get someone who is not technically sound, but also a good consultant who is going to be there to help you throughout your project. Otherwise, it will cost you thousands of dollars. Trust me, it's going to give you very, very hard time. If you just for the sake of saving few $100, if you hire some dodgy engineer, it's going to give you very hard time in the future.
So any form of construction, be it a simple 4x2 floor plan house, or a small development of 3 townhouse or 5 townhouse on a piece of land, like if you want to do this build, you always have to hire architect and engineer, or I don't know. Some people don't use architect; they use draftsman. Can someone just use draftsman with structural engineer?
Yeah. See,
Also
you
possible.
got a choice with the draftsman and the architect, but you do not have choice with the structural engineer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Because structure has to be
yes.
safe, and structurally adequate, and that can be certified only by the qualified structural engineers. No one else can do that.
Oh, okay. So, like for example, are you the person that issue the OC, or no? That's a different role.
So we do not issue the OC, but based on our certificate only, certified or council issue you the CC, OC, whatever certificates, that is based on our certificate. Yeah, without our certificate, they cannot issue anything.
Okay, so
basically,
yeah.
Basically, when I, like, for example, it's a house, let's say house, right? First certificate during the footings, second certificate during the slab, third certificate during the framing, right? That's 3 certificates from engineer, right? Once they issue all this certificate, and apart from that, they got other certificate as well, like waterproofing and other things,
Yes.
Once you certified or council receive all those certificates, then council issue you OC. OC means occupancy certificate, means the house can be habitable. The house is strong and good enough to be to live by the people, So that's why our certificate is very important. Without our certificate, you cannot get OC.
Oh, so every single house that's built without structural engineer certificate cannot get to the stage where getting the OC.
No. Even ideally, it cannot even provide to the next stage of construction. Like if it is a footing, right? If I don't give you the certificate, ideally it should not proceed further to the slab stage. If I do not give certificate for the slab, it should not proceed further for the framing stage. No, it should not go to the next stage until you get certificate from the engineer of the previous stage.
Oh, understand now. Oh, thank you so much, Praveen. Yeah. Do you have anything else you like to add, or we'll call it a night? You look a little bit sleepy.
Yeah, I think it was going on. I think it was originally scheduled for 45 minutes, and it's around more than 1.5 hours.
Thank you for your generous 1.5 hours. Yeah.
No, it's always been pleasure to talk to you, Lillian, and it's my privilege, and I'm always happy to help the people, because I feel very happy when I see the joy on the people's face when in some way or another I able to help them. So no worries at all. Anyone who is watching me or who will watch me in the future, please do not hesitate at all to reach out to me. Even the problem is smaller or bigger, do not worry at all. I'm always there to help you out.
So Praveen is servicing the entire New South Wales. So members, I will leave Praveen's business card below this post. So if you encounter construction issues, things like that, welcome to contact Praveen. He's very helpful and very polite, patient man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's for civil and structural, any sort of issues.
Oh, sorry, civil. Can I ask what's mean the civil side?
Civil side means when it comes to the residential, so stormwater design, stormwater, like the downpipes when there's a rain. So that's stormwater design. That's comes under civil. So so nowadays there is requirement for the rainwater tank, right? So you have to have a rainwater tank. So that has to be designed. Then if it is the old, like many councils, like addition alterations, right? So many councils do not allow you to discharge the rainwater onto the curb. Then you need to design the on-site detention tank. If you do not have to design the on-site detention tank, then you should have a discharge system, So you always have to design the stormwater which is going to be in your lot. Yeah. So so that is civil. First, apart from the driveway is civil. You know, your driveway design, it has to be proper gradient. That is civil. And also swept path analysis. So some retaining walls, civil and structural both. Structure civil and structural both. Then swept path analysis. Sometimes if you have a dual garage, you know, and then there is a very tight space in your garage and your driveway, then also, that also has to be designed by the civil. And if your house is under a flood prone area, then you need to have a certificate, flood certificate. That is also civil. Yeah. So we do civil and structural both. Yeah.
Can I ask you, like, I see all the new house now, they always have this I don't know what you call it. Like, you know, when it rains, it will collect like this extra structure. Not downpipe,
that's
like it's on
rainwater
ground.
That's rainwater tank. That's rainwater tank.
Yeah, and then people told me that's very expensive, and you must have that in Sydney now, because if there's a lot of rain or something, that thing will collect the water and then let it go slowly or something. I forgot the technical name for that. Yeah. Do you also like can look into that sort of thing?
Yeah. So that is an integral part of the house. So what happens? So before designing the house, we need to have that data. This is called as basics. So basics. So nowadays, you know, sustainability. So anything should be sustainable, right? Like environmental friendly. So your house should be sustainable, environmental friendly. So when you design the new house, you should have a basic certificate. Basic certificate provides you the details like how energy efficient and rain efficient, water efficient your house is, right? So water, when it comes to the water efficiency, so it means like the amount of water you are catching and the amount of water you are collecting and how you are going to use it. So it means so the basics will tell you that based on the land of your area of your house and the locality of your house, you should have the 5,000 liter rainwater tank. Basics will tell you 3,000 liter water tank, whatever, right? So then accordingly we design the stormwater system based on that basics requirement. So what does that do? That collect the water, the storm water, and then you use that storm water in your rainwater tank for the gardening, and mostly for the flush, for the toilets as well. For the toilets and for the garden, use that rainwater tank. You use that water, and also the excess of water. You are not supposed to drain the whole water onto the curb on the road, otherwise it may cause the flood issue, right? So that's why for collect that 5,000 of liter water. If you have any excess of water, that will gradually go to the road. So that's the main intention of that water tank.
Oh, I see. Got it. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming today, Praveen. Yeah, really appreciate your sharing of knowledge and your time. Yeah.
No worries. Thank you so much again, Lillian, for giving me this opportunity to be on your show. And all the very best for all the viewers. Thank you, viewers, for listening and watching me patiently. Please do not hesitate if you have any questions regarding civil or stormwater. Always happy to help. And thanks everyone for listening to me so patiently. And thank you, Lillian, again. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Have a
No
good
worries.
night.
Yeah, you too. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.